All right, so let's talk real quick. This week we have talked about where to look around the grocery store for the best quality foods for you. We've talked about healthy fats yesterday. We've talked about reading our labels to make sure that we're getting the best that we can out of our food. So you've bought all of this food. How do you make it last, right? You spend good money on your food, especially if you're buying organic, you're paying more for it. You don't want to throw it away at the end of the week because it's moldy and wilted and gross and there's weird smells coming out of your refrigerator, right? So what are some simple things that you can do to help make sure that the food you do buy lasts as long as possible and stays as fresh as possible so you can use it? Well, let me tell you, I've got 12 little tips here for you. So one of the things that a lot of people know, but they don't necessarily follow through with, at least I know I have heard it a lot, but yet I'm still the guiltiest about it. Our refrigerators have that door, right? Even though it's convenient, not the best place to store your milk, your dairy. You want your dairy to go at the back of the refrigerator. That means you have to move stuff out to get milk for your cereal or your kids or whatever, but it's gonna last longer because it's colder back there in the back. So take your milk out of the door and stick it in the back of your refrigerator. That's gonna help it not spoil as fast. Most refrigerators are set up where, like, you know, you've got the shelves and then you've got your cheese drawer and then your crisper bin and then the meat drawer at the bottom. Okay, there's a reason for that. Meats should go in the bottom of your refrigerator. Meats have a tendency to have juices with them, right? Those juices sometimes ooze out of the package. You don't want that getting all over your vegetables or whatever else you have stored in there. That's gonna ruin them. Raw food juice, raw meat juice is not what you want all over the rest of your food. So store your meat, boom, down close to the bottom. This is something that I read last night that I thought was very interesting that I haven't tried before, and I'm interested to see how it works. But it says to treat your herbs like they're flowers. So your green onions, your asparagus, if you buy like fresh parsley or cilantro, it says to cut the stems a little bit and put them in a little jar of water with saran wrap over the top and store them upright in the fridge. That might, I don't know, but I'm thinking that might be a good thing to store in the door, so that, you know, the jars don't rattle around and stuff like that. Your fruits and vegetables, not everything needs to go in the fridge. Some of them are perfectly fine at room temperature on the counter as long as it's like a nice cool, you know, your house probably is not a tropical humid forest, right? So as long as it's a nice dry type place, you could even store them in your pantry. Things like avocados, your citrus, your bananas, your potatoes, your onions, nectarines. Those don't need tomatoes. They don't need to be in your refrigerator taking up room. They will do perfectly fine on the counter. However, you do want to keep in mind that you probably don't want to store like onions right next to potatoes. They put off that chemical ethylene. I put a note about it because I knew I would forget. What's it called? Ethylene gas, which can cause each other to like ripen early. So, you know, you don't want to store those side by side, but they're perfectly fine on the counter. Your lettuce, your spinach, your cabbage, things like that, your greens, your salad type greens, you put a paper towel in with them. You can store them like in a Ziploc baggie with a paper towel. The paper towel will help suck moisture out, and so they don't wilt and get slimy, you know, the way they sometimes do. It helps get rid of that extra moisture. The top of your bananas, where you hang them, you know, sometimes the bananas seem to ripen really fast. Put a little bit of plastic wrap at the crown there at the top of your bananas, and that will also help with the ethylene gas from ripening your bananas so quickly. Another very interesting one that I found that I had never heard before is to wrap your celery in tinfoil. What? Yeah, it says wrapping your celery in tinfoil will hold the right amount of moisture in and keep it nice and crunchy. There's nothing that I hate worse than when you get your celery out and it like bends, it doesn't snap. So I'm going to try that one too, wrapping in tinfoil. I have always learned that when you go to the grocery store, once you get everything home, you go ahead and wash it and prep it and get it ready to use. But this one particular article that I was reading from the Beachbody blog says to wash your produce as you go. And the reason is, hey Cassie, happy retirement lady. Wash your produce as you go, because when you're washing it, of course, it gets wet, right? So then if you don't dry it real good, you're going to allow more the mold to build up faster. So they're saying wash it when you're ready to use it, not ahead of time. I'm not sure that I like that one as much. I like to wash them right away so that I can just grab it and eat it. But you got to make sure you dry real well. Berries. Oh, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. Man, they go bad quick, right? You got to use those suckers up. Well, here's a little tip that I read, that if you're not eating them right away, soak your berries in 3 parts water and 1 part vinegar solution, and that will kill the bacteria and prevent molding. But you got to, rinse them thoroughly and pat them dry once you're done. Hadn't even thought about that. Your vegetables, go ahead and roast them ahead of time. If you know what you're going to do with them during the week, then go ahead and roast the ones that you can, and that's part of your meal prep is done. Store your grains in airtight containers, right? Like your rices, your flours, your sugars, make sure that they're in airtight containers so they don't get clumpy, because they do absorb moisture as well. And then, of course, just double check the temperature in your fridge and make sure that it's set at the right temperature. The temperature should be at least 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or maybe a few degrees lower. So those are just some quick things that you can do. The other thing that I suggest is when you go to the grocery store, have a plan. Know what you're using that week, so you're not buying stuff that just sits there and ends up being put away. Make your plan ahead of time. Make the list that goes with your plan, and then buy what you need and not what you don't. You don't need to have a bunch of extra stuff on hand. If you do say like, oh, but I'm always running out of yada, 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 buy more of that week. All right, that's it. It's time to get my workout on. I hope that you guys have a fantabulous Thursday. For my teacher friends in the Houston area, you can do it. This is the last day with kids. Give them lots of love. Send them off for the summer, happy as can be, because they're going to miss you and you're going to miss them. Even though you need the break, y'all are going to miss each other. Love you guys. Bye.